What's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to Trailblazers Radio. I am your host. My name is Frederick Beatty. And first of all, thank you very much for tuning in with us. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here with us and you're rocking out with us. And we most definitely thank you for rocking out with us. We appreciate that. And we appreciate that. And we really thank you for that. So thank you for tuning in to us. Thank you for rocking out with us. Thank you for just taking the time out of a probably busy Friday evening to hang out with us. So before we even go anywhere else, man, I just thank y'all for just coming in and just hanging out with us, man. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Follow us on our many social media platforms: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Also follow our YouTube channel. That's where all the episodes are. That's where all our audio, our video episodes are housed at. So if you miss an episode, make sure you check out our YouTube page. All of our video episodes are there. Also follow us on excuse me. Follow us on several the many audio platforms that we have. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, um, Caster FM, Stitcher Radio. We're also on iHeartRadio, so follow us on iHeartRadio as well. Um, anywhere that you get audio podcasts, follow us on those platforms. And last but most definitely not least, we want to thank you guys. Thank everyone who's tuning in and watching us tonight. Again, you guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here hanging out with us, and we most definitely appreciate it very, very much. Oh, one last thing. If you missed the episode last night with Promise Nicole, oh goodness, you guys missed a gem of an episode. So go to go to our YouTube page and check out that episode with Miss Promise Nicole. That episode was actually last night. So make sure you check out that episode. Make sure and check out that episode. And also, if you like what you hear, if you like what you hear, make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Um, Subscriptions are always a good thing for us. So make sure you follow us and subscribe. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for tuning in and following us. With that being said, I want I want to preface what I'm about to talk about with this small disclaimer. The things I'm about to say may possibly get emotional, may possibly get a little heated, may possibly even get a little testy. But I want everyone to know that this is the perspective that I see the subject matter at hand, and it's only my perspective. Everyone else has different perspectives, and that's fine. But I want everyone to know that what I'm saying is just even though it's from my perspective, the things that I'm about to say is probably the things I'm going to say are things that a lot of us can apply to our own lives as we continue to move forward, as we continue to move forward in our lives, as we continue to push forward in our lives, as we continue to, you know, turn ourselves into the better person that we know we are and that we should be. So you guys saw the topic, rebuild me, learning to put your life together after a lot of things that happened. So before we go any further, I want to just set the stage by letting you guys know what the definition of the word rebuild means. So rebuild is a noun. Rebuild is a verb. It means to build again after it has been damaged or destroyed, or to build something again after it's been damaged or destroyed. It also can be used as a noun, an instance or rebuilding something, especially a vehicle or other machine. So we're gonna actually use the verb. We're actually gonna use the first definition of what I'm talking about. So that means to build something after it has been damaged or destroyed. So there's a song that I like there's a song that I listen to quite a lot, quite a bit. The name of the song is called "Rebuild Me" by JMoss. For me, the song has a very has a lot of significance to me because it represents the stage in my life that where I am currently. But it also can represent the stage a stage in life that some of us are in currently. And as we all know, rebuilding is a process. It requires it requires us to continue. It requires us to demolish really demolish what's already been destroyed and rebuild it back up from scratch. That means using a new blueprint or using a new blueprint or or making modifications to an existing blueprint. However you look at it at that. So there's some things I want to kind of talk about a little bit about how and again, this is only coming from my personal perspective, and is how I'm rebuilding myself. Some people can some people could probably relate to this. Some people could not. Some people will be able to take some things away from this, and others may not. The goal of this, honestly, and I'm just being the goal of this, honestly. Number one is to be transparent, be transparent with myself, but also hoping that through my transparency, somebody will catch this, and they'll run with it, and they'll not necessarily run with it, but they'll catch it and they'll apply it they'll apply it when they go through their rebuilding process as well. So just I broke this up into kind of 5 different tenets, and like I said, this may not be the order that you might approach it in, but this is the order that I would approach it in. And again, this is only from my own personal perspective, which means I'm probably going to interject some of my own experiences into this. So at times this could possibly be emotional, and at times this could possibly be a little testy. So as I go through this, I appreciate you guys for bearing with me. So the first tenet that I want to tackle a little bit is um the rebuilding of our minds. And the way that I attack this and approach this is there's some thought processes that we've endured, that we've had, or that we've embraced, or we've been conditioned to have for quite some time. A lot of these thought processes, a lot of these thought processes are a lot of these some of these thought processes are nuanced. Some of these thought processes are a little bit archaic. Some of these thought processes are based upon what we've heard, and then some thought processes are based upon what we know to be truth. But in order for us to rebuild our mind, we have to think differently. What do I mean by thinking differently? What I mean by thinking differently is that we have to think of things differently. Think of how we approach things. Think of how we think. Consider how we think of ourselves. Consider how we how we think about certain processes. The ones we've been conditioned to, and also the nuanced thought processes that we have. Also, the ones that we adapted based upon hearing them, or the ones that we adapted based upon truth. A rebuild of the mind, it really requires us to think differently. See the it all- I think it allows we have to look at things not through our physical eyes. We have to we have to analyze things a little differently. We have to put things in better perspectives. You know, it doesn't require us to always you don't have to always accept things as truth. If you If you accept everything as truth, then everything if you accept everything as truth, then half of those truths are a lie. Thinking differently also mean thinking differently in my eyes, at least the way I see it. Thinking differently requires us to challenge things. Challenge what's been said, challenge things that have been said, challenge things that are supposed to be factual, challenge things that you took for truth based upon hearing them. When you challenge things, you start to think differently. Certain things are not as you think differently. Certain things are not what they seem when you put them in the proper thought processes, or when you put them in the proper thinking patterns. We do have to change our thought patterns. The thought pattern, rebuilding the mind, is more than just conditioning your mind to think differently. It's all to think differently about what you hear. It's also conditions to think of the things that you see or what you feel. If you look at it from the aspect of, and how can I put this? Look at it from the aspect of changing your entire viewpoint of how you see things, or how you think about things. Excuse me. Some people are cynics. Some people are optimists. Some people are pessimists. Those are thought processes, y'all. Cynicism, pessimism, and optimism are thought processes. And some people just don't change those thought processes overnight, and it requires us to take the time and take the time and the effort needed to change those thought processes. Um, a person that was cynical could turn optimistic. A person that was optimistic could be cynical. A person that was cynical can be a pessimist, and vice versa to all those things. But in essence, rebuilding your mind means changing your thought processes, thinking about things differently, thinking about how you approach how you thinking about how you see how you view how you think about yourself, changing your thought processes or how you think about yourself, changing your thought processes of how you think about your life, your goals, where you're going, how you're going to get there. It literally just means changing. It really just means knocking out negative thought processes. We all deal with those from time to time, but we have to at least reduce or eliminate those thought processes. The second thing I want to talk about is in this rebuilding process is the rebuilding of our hearts. And I'm going to say this from my own personal experience. There are things that there are experiences and emotions and instances in our lives that we just cannot unlive, unsee, or unfeel. Case in point, I'll use myself as a perfect example. When I lost my oldest son, that was an experience that I could never that I couldn't unsee, that I couldn't unfeel, that I couldn't unlive. And those experiences literally and I won't even say in some instances, those experiences, the ones that we can't unsee, the ones that we can't unfeel, the ones that we can't unlive, those experiences literally rip away at our heart. And it leaves a void that sometimes could avoid that either that in some instances would never be filled or never be repaired or replaced. And for me, for a long time, that was me. There's still a there's still a void there, but it's not as big and not as big as it was a while. So when it was not wasn't as big as it was when it was fresh, when it was a fresh experience. I had to learn how to I had to learn to repair. I had to learn how to rebuild my heart by, you know, as painful as it was, by accepting things, by understanding that experience, understanding the meaning of it, understanding why it happened, understanding that in the midst of it all, there was something in it, that there was something good that came out of it. Tragic events, most traumatic or tragic events don't always have something good coming from the opposite end of them. There's always a void there. There's always something there that can never be replaced or never be uh, repaired. I had to learn how to understand the experience. I didn't have to necessarily understand why it happened. I didn't necessarily need to understand why it happened. I did have to understand that it happened. I also had to understand that this was an experience that I had that I'm gonna be living with for the remainder of my days. And it's gonna be a hard experience. It's gonna be a hard thing for me to deal with in my heart. And I had to, in order for me to rebuild that void, that large void that was taken away, I had to understand that. One of the things that really that helped in rebuilding that void was the birth of my granddaughter. It helped it helped rebuild that void because it gave me something else, because it gave me something else to concentrate on, and something else to put my life towards, to dedicate myself towards. Protection of a sipper, you know, teaching a 6 year old girl everything she needs to know about her father, offering protection when I'm available, when I'm available and present, to be doing my very best to be present in her life when the opportunity presents it, but when opportunity presents itself, being able to do things for her when the opportunity presents itself. Had to do that. Had to understand the experience. And I had to move forward. I had to move forward from the experience. And please don't get this misconstrued, God. Don't get this misconstrued, everybody. Is moving forward from that experience is something forward from a traumatic or tragic experience is something that takes something that's called an element of time. And we all need to we all have to we all need to take it. But if we're able to understand the experience, we're able to, enact those repairs to our heart, and we're able to move forward in that. We're able to push forward in that. It's not always the prettiest or greatest experience in the world, but it can, but the repairs can be done, and it doesn't have to be a perfect rebuild. Let me just let y'all know. Let me just say this right now, and I'm jumping a little bit off subject. So the rebuild of who rebuilding yourself doesn't have to be a perfect thing. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be where all the angles are straight, and it's a fresh, perfect coat, it's a perfectly painted surface and things of that nature. It doesn't A rebuild doesn't have to be or rebuilding yourself doesn't have to be a pretty thing. Sometimes a rebuild can be or sometimes a rebuilding yourself is a very ugly thing. Sometimes it can be an ugly experience, and the end result after the rebuilding yourself can be ugly. But at the same time, it doesn't have to look it doesn't have to look pretty for it to be rebuilt. But it doesn't also have to be shoddily rebuilt either. Some form of care, and some form of care must be adhered to. The third thing I want to talk about a little bit is rebuilding our soul, or rebuilding of the soul. And this is a hard thing for me to talk about because there have been things that I've experienced. There have been things that I've been through. There have been things that I experienced that have literally taken the soul away. So that have literally some of the things have literally taken, I won't say the life out of me, but they left a very indelible mark on my soul. Going through those two situations with domestic violence, first being the abuser and then being the abused. Those two things left a very noticeable mark on my soul. Then dealing with losing people that I cared about. Then then going through my suicide attempts. Then going through a separation, and then an eventual divorce. These things leave a mark on you. And sometimes they leave a very noticeable mark on you. And sometimes it makes certain aspects of life hard to deal with. It makes certain things in how we deal with people hard to deal with. It makes how we maneuver through our own personal lives, and how we interact and interconnect with each other difficult. And for me, that's been the excuse me. That's been the rough part, or should I say the rough patch that I find myself dealing with sometimes. That I find myself dealing with more than I find myself dealing with anything else. And the only thing that I could kind of offer for that part of it is just, I guess, understanding to accept things as they are. Well, let me walk back a little bit on that, because traumatic, because those are the things that I mentioned. There's things that we have done to our own selves. There's things that people have done to us, to where the things that people do to us leave a mark on us, leave a mark on our soul, leaves marks on our heart too. It also leaves a mark on our mind, because now we get to a point of, well, if this person did this, now the wheels thinking, what else are they gonna do? And it brings about other emotions as well. It violates other things as well. It violates trust, violates communication. It prevents people from being candid. It prevents people from being candid with you, or being vulnerable with you, or you being vulnerable to them. The things of that nature. And for me, and again, I'm speaking from my own personal perspective, but I'm also speaking from a general perspective as well. I've had to learn to just accept things that happen, the things that have happened to me, that have been done to me, and the things that I've done to people. Just have to accept things as they are. Forgive, accept forgiveness, and learn to forgive without being overly judgmental of people and myself. What do I mean by that? First of all, being overly judgmental of people. I've had to learn that I can't. overly judge people based upon what they've done to me, what they will do to me, what they had done to me, what they may do to me. I had to learn to judge people based upon their merit, based upon their merits and their actions, not on what ifs. What I can't speak on, I can't say what if, can't make hypotheses about what someone may do to me. I can only act upon what people do to me or what I do to people. Then not being overly judgmental of myself, of ourselves, or myself personally. I'll say this: we as we as human beings we as our human beings are our most harshest critics, especially when we're judging ourselves or being critical of ourselves. We're our most harshest critics. And what I mean by not being overly judgmental, what I simply mean by that is giving grace to ourselves and other people, giving grace to ourselves and other people. We have to learn to give grace, not only to ourselves but other people. We have to learn to be, you know, see things as they are, and not overly act upon them or overly judge people or judge ourselves. You know, you can only pass. I won't say you won't even see past judgment. You can only see people by what they do. You can only see people by how they treat you and how they act towards you. You can't judge anything off potential what you can't judge anything off what ifs. And it's the same thing that goes with us. You can when we look inward. You can only look at you can only look at what you've done to people or what you've done to yourself. You can't judge. You can't go off off what ifs. Well, what if I did this or what if I had done that? It's too late for that now. The whatever happened. Now you have to now you have to repair that part of you that's been hurt or that's been broken. The fourth thing I want to talk about is rebuilding of the body. And I think that this is just as important as everything else that I mentioned, but even to a more greater, but even to a greater degree. The body, our body, everything that it everything that's intent that's inside and outside of us. This body that we have, everything that's inside of us and outside of us. This Our body is an amazing machine, truly amazing. However, comma machines break down. Machines break down through normal wear and tear, through normal wear and tear, sometimes overuse, or sometimes or even sometimes that machine will completely shut down due to it being overly stressed. What could cause your body to shut down? Being overly stressed. Um, conditions that we've that I that we that we that have either been that we've either invited upon ourselves through our li- our lifestyle choices, or conditions that were passed down to us through hereditary means, or whatever or whatever. or even debilitating conditions. Conditions that put us that make us bedbound or confine us to a wheelchair or in some cases completely take away our body's ability to effectively fight disease or effectively fight for us when we get sick. And there's other things that happen too. There's other ways that our body breaks down, and that's through the simple fact of us not necessarily taking care of our body the way that we should, or the way we know how we should. That leads to other things. That leads to other things. And I think a lot of us know. I think most of us here are adult enough to know what that is, and I'm not going to necessarily mention those things. But the body is amazing. But the body is an amazing machine, and we need to rebuild this temple, our body, this machine. By we need to do that by taking better care of it. What do I mean by taking better care of it? Changing or modifying our eating habits. Some of us go through the whole day, and some of us go through the whole day and don't eat anything. Some of us go through the whole day, and some of us go through the whole day and don't eat it, don't even eat one meal. Or we don't. Some of us go through the whole day eat one meal. And what I mean by changing your eating habits is changing what you eat, what you take into your body. You know, introducing more greenery. Green vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, asparagus, green beans. Um, you know, eating more leaner proteins, fish, eggs. Limiting the amount of carbs we take into our body, or better, limiting the amount of red meat we eat, amount of red meat that we eat. Also, what I'm changing our eating habits also means if we go to the grocery store, we actually look at the labels at the things that we consume. You know, avoid for me it was avoiding things that had high sodium in it. If I noticed when I ate things that had very little or no sodium in it, I noticed that my blood pressure didn't skyrocket. I noticed that when I started eating things that didn't have certain chemicals in it, I noticed that certain thing that I didn't feel a certain way. I noticed when I start eating a little smarter, which means kind of when I ate smarter, meaning trying to eat a little bit better for myself. I noticed that when I started eating a little smarter, meaning I added more greens into my diet. I noticed that I felt a lot better. Noticed that I had a lot more energy. What other things am I talking about when I mean by taking care of our body? It's more than just changing up our eating habits and things of that nature. It also goes to taking care of our body by being active. What I mean by being active, being participating in some sort of activity. I've heard studies saying, you should participate 30 minutes of activity daily. Whatever that activity is, do it. Whether you like to dance, whether you you know, like to walk, run, lift weights, work out. If hit a, go to a gym and hit it and, you know, work out on a heavy bag or a speed bag, or some or stretch. as long as you're doing something that takes care of that helps take care of your body, doing something active, that's part of taking care of your body. Now the other part of that is now that you're working on yourself by rebuilding your body by eating properly and being more active. Now you have to take care of your body by replacing what's been lost. That mean that goes back to diet. It goes back to drinking more water, cutting out. Sometimes we have to take a break from soft drinks and sugary drinks because sometimes it's just not what we need. You know, try to looking for more not natural juices such as natural apple juice or natural pomegranate or carrot juice. Um, these these things are like those things are really really good. Now some people may not like the taste, but I mean trust me, sometimes what tastes bad to us is good for us. Honestly speaking, just being honest. The other part of taking care of our body is making sure that we get enough rest. A lot of the majority of us, the majority of us work an 8 hour shift, and then some of us, most of us, we we manage a bit we manage a business outside of this, outside of working an 8 hour shift. We have to make sure that we get enough rest. You know, proper rest leaves us energized and ready to go, ready to tackle the next day. And I get it, y'all. I get it completely because I've done the same thing myself. You know, worked an 8 hour job, working my podcast business, and then doing trying then on top of that I'm an author trying to write books, trying to do other things and promote my podcast business, promote my books and things of that nature. All that those things are like those things take up time in my day too. Take up time in the day too. It's I'll tell y'all this. It's 24 hours in a day. 8 of those hours, well, I'm taking it back. 16 of those hours are spent working a job or sleeping. What about the other 8? Like I said it's only 24 hours in a day. Make sure that when I mean by when we work on the body, you make sure that you make each day count by taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Make sure that you're eating properly. Also make sure that you're practicing proper hygiene and things of that nature. When we when we look good, when us looking good is a direct reflection on how we feel. When you look good and you smell good and you when you look good and you smell good and you have a fresh cut, your beard, for ladies, and when your hair is all nice and done and your eyebrow and your eyebrows are did right and your eyelashes are in place and you got them edges are just right and your edges are just right and your makeup's looking good, or if you don't wear makeup you know that you're looking good and that face is perfect. And for dudes, for us, we have a fresh cut, that that beard and mustache and that goatee are connecting, and everything. And then you have a nice outfit on, things, everything looks good. Looking good is a direct result of looking good makes us feel good. But why? But how about how better would it be if we felt good, if we felt just as good on the inside, meaning our body, the inside of our body, but also the outside of our body, just as we do when we have clothes on. So the body's a great machine, and taking care of it is paramount. Make sure that we eat properly, making sure that we get enough rest. Making sure that that we are active in what and making sure that we're active in whatever activity that it is. It could be yoga, it could be basketball, it could be like cardio, it could be whatever. But as long as we're active and we're remaining active, you know, that's what matters. And the last but most certainly not least one. It's not the least one, but it's the last one that I want to talk about tonight. Rebuilding of our spirit. An important one, I think. All five of these are important, and each one has their own importance. And they can be in whatever level of importance or of importance to you. Rebuilding of our spirit. I'll say this, and I said this in the last podcast when I was with when I was with Coco. A spiritual death is worse than a physical death. When you die spiritually, there's literally nothing. There's nothing left of you. So what happens when we're damaged or destroyed spiritually? Or what are things that can what are things that can damage us or destroy us spiritually? Church hurt, abuse, self-defeating actions. So many other things can have so many other things that I can mention could have a devastating effect on one's spirit, because it puts us in a position to where we just feel like we don't belong, or we just don't want to exist spiritually. I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I felt. That's how I felt in a lot of instances. What do you do? What do you do when one's spirit is damaged? How does one rebuild their spirit when it's damaged? So this particular tenet comes with two things. The first thing in the subset of this particular tenet is number one, getting back to our first love and understanding his will and his purpose for our lives. What is our first love? What is our first love? God. Understanding that God loves us, and that his will and his purpose for our life is what he wants. Is really what he wants for us. Understand we have to understand that our purpose, that what that we were all born with a purpose. For some of us, it's taken us a little bit longer to find out what that purpose is, but we all have a purpose. And finding out what God's purpose for us is the challenge. Some of us find out what that is early. Some of us find that out later. But we all have a purpose. Also understanding that you know God's will for us. He want he literally God literally wants us to live our life to the full, meaning to the fullest, in abundance. Meaning he wants us to be abundant till it overflows. He wants us to have blessings, so many blessings that it overfills our cup and overfills our container. That's his will for us. No, and the only thing that it requires is just for us to believe and trust him. Believe in him and trust his will for us, and trust the purpose that he has for us. That I will. I can't say that. I can't say that it's that. I can't say that it's that simple, but it is that simple. Honestly speaking, it's not difficult. It's just that simple. You know. We not. We're not put on this earth to be a defeated people. We're not put on this earth to want to wander around spiritually. We're not put on this earth to wander around lost spiritually. And and I'm only saying this from my own personal perspective. What it is, and it's whatever your belief is, whatever your spiritual belief is. But for me, as I've gotten older and as things have progressed with me and trying to be a better individual, I've had to understand what God's will and purpose for my life is. Now that I'm beginning to understand what that is, now I'm better equipped to walk in it. Now I'm better equipped to step out in it on faith, on not just faith, but also an ability. Faith in knowing that God has my back, and also on my own God given abilities. We're not we weren't put on this earth to suffer. Well, I'll take that back. You know, we as a people, we as God, we as children of the Most High God, we go through long suffering, and sometimes that long suffering does damage or destroy a spirit, because some of us have been going through this long suffering for so long, and we haven't understood or readily recognized or acknowledged that you know that something that we were supposed to go through for like maybe 2 weeks. We end up going through it for 3 months, and that's not how God had planned it or ordained it or wanted it. We put ourselves through extended suffering because we put ourselves through extended suffering because we don't understand. Some of us, not all of us, and I'm gonna throw myself in that too, because I was like that for a time. I won't even say I was like that for a time. I was like that for a time, and then there's times I still get like that. You know, we put ourselves through extended suffering because sometimes the things that we go through are only meant to be like a short term thing. Instead, we make ourselves we we continue to do things that's not in the will or the purpose of God, and we extend our suffering, and that's not how that's supposed to be. Something that's only supposed to last a day end up lasting 3 years. Something that we supposed to endure a day end up lasting 4 or 5 years. How? First of all, how? Number two, why? And I think a lot of us, again, myself included, you know, had that small spiritual death because at one point in our lives, and I can only say this from my own personal perspective. For me, only for me. I can only say it for me. Everybody else is a little different, and that's fine. I can say this for me though. When my son passed, man, angry at God, pissed at God, wanted wanted to cuss at God, wanted to curse out God. Oh my man, look, that was your boy for a good long time because I was angry. bitter, hurt, just a ticking time bomb. Angry because I felt God took away one of the things that I felt humanized me. Well, one of the four things, one of the four things that I felt humanized me. My oldest son. I mean, and I'll say this and be completely transparent. My children were are were at the time were the only individuals outside of my family that I felt humanized me. And when my son was taken from when my son was taken from this plane, I felt like a part of what humanized me was gone too. And I went hell yeah, and hell yeah, I was angry. Hell yeah, I was bitter. Hell yeah, I was pissed. Hell yeah, I wanted to curse. No, I take that back. Not wanting to curse, I did curse. Call God all kind of all every name, every colorful metaphor in the book in the damn book, y'all. And the one thing that I had to realize was that my and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but just roll with me for just a second. You know, I think that the people that we keep close to, or the people that we keep close to our hearts, are are a large part of who we are in spirit. My children were the people that were the ones that I kept closest to my heart. They were pretty much a large part of who I, a large part of my spirit. And that was when my son passed, I felt that was part of my, like a big part of my spirit was taken away. And I was angry. And I was like, dude, you can't. Why did you do this? You can't do that. I mean, what do I have? What do I have now? You know, come to find out, there was more in store. And I'm not gonna say that it's easy to recover or rebuild a broken spirit, because it's not. Because my spirit is because I'm still rebuilding and reconstructing my own spirit. But the other thing, besides understanding what God's will and purpose for our lives is or are, it also helps us when we are in right where. First of all, it helps us in this thing, and what and I'll put it like this. So understanding what God's will and spirit and purpose for our lives is also understanding or being in right relationship with God. What do I mean by right relationship? It's self-explanatory, but I'll explain it. Right relationship meaning that that you're talking to God daily, that you're listening and you're hearing His word, hearing what He says to you, that that you're acting on that you're acting fervently on that, and you're making sure that what is that you're acting in that in the exact way that has been said, that it was presented to you. So I'm 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 gonna clue some of y'all in on a little secret. Did y'all know that prayer is a conver is just a conversation with God? Yeah, Quint. Most definitely. You're at your most vulnerable when you're with him. When you're with him and when you're around him. But let me clue y'all in on a little secret. Did you know that prayer was did y'all know that prayer is just a is simply just a conversation with God? Hey Simone, did y'all know that? Did y'all also know that that it doesn't have to be this majestic thing, this majestic large scale thing, right? Like some preachers or some evangelists and that that man, it don't require all that. It really it honestly doesn't. I'm just telling y'all, it really, really, it honestly doesn't require all that majesticness because all that's just like to me, it's just window dressing, and it doesn't require window dressing. All it really requires is just you having a conversation with God. Hey, God, I thank you for waking me up this morning. I thank you for giving me the breath of life. I thank you for just being who you are to me and who you are to my family. I thank you for safe arrivals and safe departures from my family, for my family. Thank you for just blessing me about thank you for just blessing me with everything that that you've given me, and thank you for allowing me to be the good shepherd over the things that you have given to me. Man, look, it don't require all that. It's just a conversation. It doesn't have to be this. It don't got to be a formal. It doesn't have to be a formal conversation. It's a conversation. Hey, God, just want to tell you that I thank you for what you've done for me. You know, hey God, I just want to tell you that I'm really grateful for all the things that you've given to me. Yes, Simone, that is so true. That is so true. Especially when we feel guilty about something that we've done. Then that's when we make it this grandiose thing. And for what reason? Why are we making it this grandiose thing? It's not grandiose. It shouldn't even be that shouldn't even be that. If you did something, if you feel guilty about something and you and something that you've done or something that you've done, just it's simple. Hey God, I want to tell you that that I did this and I'm confessing it to you and I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm asking you to forgive me for the thing for this transgression upon you. And I'm hoping that you can forgive me. I'm praying that you can forgive me. How do you start a conversation? You just started like you. It's simple, just like you're talking to a person, like you're talking to another person. But also understanding just as in conversation, just as in conversation with people. When we converse with other people, that we give them respect, and we give them respect as we talk to them, and that they were the respect in them as us talking to them, and also the respect that they respect them responding. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. You speak you can speak to God. You can speak to God with reverence and respect without having to be grandiose about it. Without having to be all pomp and circumstance about it. That's honestly speaking, and I know some people are gonna jump on my head for this, but that's just that's some show stuff, man. That's just for show, man. But I mean, like I said, Simone. I mean, it's literally just having like you converse with with your mother or your father or any good friend or a good friend. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, and it doesn't have to be all this great big old thing like that, man. It doesn't have to be. Just like when you talk to a person and you become vulnerable with that person, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's really really okay to be vulnerable with God. It's not like he don't know that. It's not like he don't know what you're gonna tell him already. It's not like he knows how you feel already. He does. He does know that. Just waiting for you to say it. He knows that if he knows a part of you is sorry for the things that you did to somebody, he's just waiting for you to say. Just waiting for you to say it. That's it. That's all. I mean, and again, I'm not finna harp on anybody because that's not what I'm trying to do. But I just want to emphasize that it's really not about grandiose things. It's not about you know saying all these things with a loud voice and all that humming. No, hell no. It's just a conversation. It's literally a conversation. That's what prayer is. It's a conversation with God. And like I said, you don't have to go through this old grandiose type stuff, man. Just tell him what you feel. Tell him how you feel. And then, if you happen to you happen to cry when you do that, then that's fine. Let the tears flow. Let the tears flow. If you happen to be emotional when you're having this conversation, it's okay. It's okay. Yep, show can quit. You can start, dear Lord or Father God, it's me again. You can always do that. And you know what, Simone? I get it. I get it. I get it. I really do. I honestly do get it. But you can't be afraid of you can't be afraid of, like, if you're not afraid of him, but you're afraid of what you did and the thing that you did that made you have to come to him. Well, I mean, eventually you're gonna have to come to him about it anyway. Why not just why not just be cool, be honest, be forthwith about it, forthcoming about it. And I think and I get what you're saying, Simone, because it's also like how we were when we were kids, when we did something we knew we were not supposed to do. And now it's time to come clean to the parent. Now it's time to come clean to our parents. And we don't want to come clean to our parents because we know there's gonna be we know there's gonna be some form of punishment behind that. That's kind of I get it. I get what you're saying. But sometimes I think when you're honest and you're forthcoming with God, I mean it just know you're still gonna be corrected or reprimanded. But I think being forthcoming softens the blow a little bit. Just like when you were honest and upfront with your parent, you still got punished or you still got that butt whipping. You just didn't get it as as intense as you would have if you just didn't say anything or you lied about it. So it's the same. I mean, I get it. I mean, because there have been times where I wasn't necessarily forthcoming with God about how I felt about something, or if I had offended somebody, or if I did something to them, whether it was egregious or not egregious, and I just didn't say anything. But then when I'm more forthcoming and saying, "Hey God," or "Hello Father," it's me. I did this. I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I'm really sorry for what I did. I feel really horrible about it, and I'm hoping that you can forgive me for it. And, and like I said, I felt better when I felt better when I said those things. rather than just kind of hold that to myself and then not say nothing about it at all. And then when it does come out, the punishment's much more severe. If you if you're not comfortable with what Quint's suggestions are, you know, I mean, you can say, "Hey God," and hey God, it's me again. I mean, if you're not comfortable with that, some people are not always comfortable with saying Lord or Father or things of that nature. Some people just ain't just are not comfortable with that. And for me, for a while, I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with that. You know, what I think in some instances, and some people will agree with me or not agree with me on this. I think in some instances we look more to formality. Oh, here, you can start by dear Lord or Father God is me again. That's what she said, Simone. But the one thing I want to kind of point out when it comes to that, I think that we get so caught up in formalities and being formal and being, yep, exactly, Quint. Talk to him as if you were talking to a friend. Literally, God is your friend. So, but I think the one thing that I think some of us get caught up in, I think and this was me for a while too. This was me for quite some time too. I think we get caught up in the formalities of it and seeing how seeing and I got caught up in the formalities of it because I saw those things in my uncle and my auntie and my uncle and my aunties, my aunts, my cousins and those guys and those people. You know what I'm saying? And I saw how they did it. I saw how they talked to God. And for me, because I saw how that I saw as a kid seeing how that worked, and then as I also see it again as a young adult, and now seeing it as I'm probably being a lot older. I thought that that was how I had to approach it. I thought I had to be formal and, Lord God, Jesus, King of King, Lord of Lords. I thought I just had to be formal about it and say all those things and say those things with, with regality and make it sound regal and convincing and things of that nature when all that ain't really necessary. Yes, there's a certain regalia about God, but it does in some instances it just doesn't it's just not required in that. You know, like I said, just talk to God as if you're talking to a person, you know, and I hear what you're saying, Simone. You're just trying to sell and get myself to start the conversation. And that's cool and that's cool. And getting yourself to that point takes an element of time. And that's cool. But you don't want to wait too you don't wait want to wait until it's too late to start that conversation. So and like I said, for me, I thought I had to be formal and just all these things with pomp and circumstance. Nah, nope, ain't even that thing. The second subtenet that I wanted to talk about that I wanted to put into this as well, besides just being in right relationship with God, it also helps that when we are in right relationship with other people. Who are these other people? Well, that's everybody. That's pretty much everybody we come in contact with. That's what I mean with other people. There's people that we've come in contact that we come in that we have relationships with, that we've come in contact with. people that we consider our friends, people that we consider our close friends, family. These are we have to make sure that we cultivate those right relationships with people. What is a right relationship? A right relationship is one that is based upon mutual trust, understanding, love, and camaraderie. That's a right relationship. It's difficult for us sometimes as people and human beings to keep those right relationships because trust and love and camaraderie are are three qualities that are hard to come by and are hard to come by in people, because you can get two of the three, or you get one of the three. In some cases, not all cases, you'll always get all three. But when you do come across, yeah, yeah, Quint. Say that one. I'm gonna put that up here. So say that one more time for the folks in the back. So what Quinn says, the word says, if you think your brother has an ought, bring your gift to the altar and go to them. You can't pray and have beef with others. Nope, you cannot. And what that also means, and also means in the more practical sense of how I break it down is, you can't sit there and have you can't be beefing with somebody and then pray for their downfall. You can't have a grudge with nobody and sit there and come at the altar and say, hey God, I want you to destroy this man or this woman. That's not how that works. That's definitely not how that works. But being in right relationship with people meaning that first of all, these people have first of all, being in right relationship with people means that you have a mutual respect. First of all, it comes from being it means it's mutual respect. I respect you, you respect me. Also right relationships mean that you love this person, that you love this person just as Christ loved the church. Meaning that you should always be able to come to this person in a spirit of love and a spirit of respect and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something that you did." And both of you guys can sit down and both of you guys can sit down and have a and both of you guys can sit down and have a conversation and talk about it without nobody jumping off the deep end, or without it ending up being fisticuffs. Right relationships mean that it's not only just mutual respect, not only mutual love, but it's also mutual camaraderie and just making sure that and sharing a personal interest in each other, not a romantic interest, but a respected personal interest in each other, wanting to make sure that that person succeeds or gets to the place that they need to go without you or the other person feeling guilty or feeling jealous about it. I think I, I think that's something that we all struggle when it comes to family. It's easier to cultivate right relationships with strangers because strangers don't know you from a can of paint. Don't know you from a can of paint. A stranger doesn't know you from anything. They just know you by your face. They just know you by just you guys coming across each other and just cordially speaking. Family, on the other hand, know some of them know you like a book because some of our family members we live with. And I think that's the difficult part because sometimes you can't always cultivate right relationships with family because family has this idea of you, and sometimes it's an inflated idea of you, and that's how they look at you, regardless of what you do, regardless, irrespective if you change, irrespective if you make a complete 180 in your life or not. They're always going to look at you as as you were rather than who they're as you were rather than as you are. And sometimes that's the case. That's the case with friends too. Friends will look at you as you are, and they'll respect you as you are. Yeah. Oh yeah, Quinn. Show support and not compete. Oh God. I could talk about that particular part of it, Quinn, all day long. And we probably be here for another 3 or 4 hours. But to kind of put that in its most simplest terms, first and foremost, to it's okay to show support to someone, whether that's emotional support, whether that's physical support, whether that is spiritual support, whether that's mental support. It's okay. It's okay for that. It's okay to do that. And competition is also good as well. Healthy competition is good. Get what I'm saying now? Healthy competition is good. Destructive competition is not good. When someone competes with you to the to with the and their objective is to totally destroy you, that is not healthy competition. If they're competing with you with benevolent intentions and the only thing they want to do is just to get better, they just want to improve themselves as well as help improve you. That's healthy. To me, that's healthy competition to me. You know, there are people that I compete with, and the only thing that they want, we share a mutual goal. We all just want to be better. We all just want to be better people. We all just want to be better at what we do. And competition, and healthy competition, is supportive. It's not antagonistic. It's not adversarial. That's true, John. That's true. But also but also in the same instance, John, we also need to be able to discern when competition becomes healthy and destructive. We need to be able to we need to be able to see the warning signs with that, because you'll know when competition is healthy, and you'll also know when it's destructive. And we need to be able to have that discernment in that, because when competition is healthy, there's camaraderie, it's friendly, it's not antagonistic, it's not adversarial. When it's destructive, that person, that individual or individuals that you're in competition with, they're going to be adversarial, they're going to be destructive, they're going to be antagonistic. And and I won't say I think right relationships with people are non-adversarial and non-antagonistic. Right relationships are all will always be in the spirit of benevolence. Never with malicious intent. And that also goes with discernment, John. You have to be able to discern those people who you align yourself with. You'll know people who have a benevolent spirit. You'll know if someone is approaching you with benevolence or malicious intent. You'll know that. You'll see that. Gotta pop that right in your head. Like, oh, don't mess with that one. You don't want to mess with him. He he or she, they want to destroy you. Don't go nowhere near them. So you don't want to mess with them. And you'll know when it's benevolent. Hey, them the people you want to be around. They're the people that you want to deal with. And like I said, you have to be able to see that. And I mentioned this in a last podcast. Discernment is more than just using your physical eyes. Discernment is also seeing things with your spiritual eyes. Of course, when we look with our our natural eyes, we only see this, we only see surface level. When we look with our spiritual eyes, we see things way beyond surface, well beyond the surface. We see everything else. And when you're able to discern how people are and what their intent is for you, you're able to maneuver better you're able to maneuver a lot more concise and more clearer when it comes to pursuing right relationships with people. And again, and it really, honestly speaking, and again, I said this in a previous podcast, sometimes you just have to be around people, and excuse my French, and you have to be around people who don't want shit from you. Nothing. They don't want anything from you. The only thing they want to do is see you win. The only thing they want to do is see you win. That's it. That's the only thing they want to do is see you come out on top and see you win. And those are right relationships. But again, like, and when I say that, it's it's also reciprocal. They don't want nothing from you, but they want to see you win. You don't want nothing from them, and you want to see them win. Those are right relationships are always based upon benevolence. To me, it's always benevolence. Because someone with a benevolent heart and a benevolent spirit will always want to pursue right relationships. But you have to also be careful. You have to be able to discern when someone is using disguise, is disguising maliciousness with benevolence. So you have to be able to see that, because there are people that will disguise their malicious intent with a benevolent nature. And you have to be able to see that. And like I said, with and I get what you're saying, Simone. It's sometimes it's with family. It's oh my goodness. Sometimes you just have to just kind of just with family. You just have to just, I don't know. Those are waters that most of us navigate when it comes to family, and you just have to kind of discern who's benevolent and who's malicious. You'll be able to tell who they are by by the way they act towards you, by the way they respond to you, by the way they treat you. You'll be able to tell benevolence when you see it. You'll be able to tell maliciousness when you see it. You'll also be able to see, you also be able to see, um, you'll also be able to see maliciousness disguised as benevolence. And like I said, with family, that's a little, I don't know. I can say this, it's a little bit more of a slippery slope with that, because there's so many factors that could go into that. Because like I said, family already knows you. They know they they have more intel. They have more intel about you, and they're always gonna they're always but unfortunately, and I've had this experience before, they'll always some family members, not all of them. Some family members will see you. They will always see you as you were, not as you are. And the only way that you can fight, I won't say the only way that you can fight that. Yep, sure will, Quit. You will be able to see wolves disguised in sheep's clothing, because unfortunately, a wolf will always make him or herself known, no matter how stealthily they hide themselves. It's gonna be something about them that you're gonna be able to pick out right off the top, right off the top. And wolves aren't stealthy creatures. So no matter how stealthily or how perfect or how good they're able to hide their true nature for you, with you, or their intents for you, You'll see a little bit in them. You'll see a little bit of that in them, how they when they talk to you, how they act around you, how they treat you. What they say to you, what they say about you to other people, how they address you, how they handle you. You'll see a little bit of that in those people. And once you see it, it's it's literally a choice to be whether you want to remain friends, where you want to remain in relationship with them or not. It's okay to let the wrong people go. I think sometimes we as human beings, we hang on to the wrong people for what we consider the right reasons, and we let go of the right people for the wrong reasons. The wrong people are the ones that tear us down, that say horrible things to us, that say that take adversarial antagonistic actions towards us, speak bad about us in the streets, talk nasty to us talk nasty about us around family or friends, and just are just altogether just horrible people. Yet we keep those people around because we're afraid to let them go. We're afraid to separate and distance ourselves from those people. We're afraid that if we let that person go, that we're not going that our ability to have friends or to make and keep friends is severely stunted. However, to the converse of that, when we let go of the right friends for the wrong reasons, these the right friends are the ones that don't talk bad about you in the streets, that always speak love and light to you, that always have a kind word for you, that will always pick you up when you're down. They're a person that you can depend on, a shoulder that you can cry on when either you're feeling horrible or you've had a horrible day. The right people will always we commonly let go of the right people when we're being corrected by those people. The wrong person's not going to correct you. Someone that talks bad about you in the streets ain't going to correct you. They'll actually encourage bad behavior or horrible behavior or irresponsible behavior or decision, or they'll they'll encourage horrible decisions. And the other thing is that the wrong people lack accountability. The right people that we let go for the wrong reasons are the ones that's going to correct. They're the ones that, again, like I said before, say good things about us, despite irrespective if we've done something wrong or not. However, they will hold us to the rug if we're wrong, and will correct us when we need to be corrected. We let go of those people because we feel that those people are being ultra critical of us. When the only thing that they were doing, honestly speaking, was just giving us correction, telling us, hey, that's wrong, don't do that. Or better yet, telling us, hey, you were wrong, now apologize. What is it that you hate, Simone? is the fact that you keep around the wrong people for the right keep around the wrong people for what we consider the quote unquote right reasons in our mind, the right reasons. So I mean, just the right people will hold us to the rug when we do that. When we mess up. Hey, ah, I get it. So you keep around the wrong people for the quote unquote right reasons, and then you get rid of the right people for the quote unquote wrong reasons, right? Humor is good. Humor is good, John. Humor is good. Humor is good, but I think when we try to correct our friends with humor, we need to make sure that we inject truth into that humor, so that way they understand what we're saying is serious. It's funny, but it's serious. Yeah, you know what for me, we're kind of like two peas in a pod with that, Simone, because I'm guilty of doing the same thing. I've had to learn to be I've had to learn to be much more of a discerning person when it came to that. And the only reason I had to learn to discern that is because when it happened to me, when people that I thought were friends that were cool with me and all this good stuff, and they're talking and they talking so much dirt and so much misinformation about me in the streets, and then all this other stuff about me, and you know I knew that they were talking bad about me, but I still didn't get rid of them. And plus, they encouraged all my they encouraged they encouraged my incorrect behavior. They made sure that I wasn't responsible or accountable for the actions that I did, and those are the people that I kept around. But when it came to people that were good, that were the right friend, the right people, and the ones that I got rid of for the quote unquote wrong reasons. That's true. I mean, l- I get that, Simone. I do. Um, my thing with that is that you know, I'll say this to you. When it comes to family or even total strangers, discern the intent. Discern the intent where it's coming from. Is it coming from a good place? Is it coming from a place of? Is it coming from a good hearted person? Is it coming from a place of benevolence? If you can feel that particular type of spirit in somebody, then it's probably coming from a good place. But if it's coming from you know just abject hatred and all this other stuff, then you might want to you can. I say if someone's saying something like that from a place of hatred or something like that. I mean, I would say you can take it for what it's worth, but in essence, you don't necessarily have to listen to it. And honestly speaking, it's a choice. We have a choice. We have a choice to what we listen to. We literally have a choice to what we listen to what we allow in our ear gates. Because listen, I'm gonna put it like this: we as human beings are influenced by we're influenced by what we hear, we're influenced by what we see, and we're influenced by what we think. To me, those are three main things I think that we're influenced by. So you feel like your folks are always attacking you, but you feel that people that you don't know are softer with you. Well, I mean, and like I just mentioned before, it's just you you have a choice. Yeah, you we all have a choice we all have a choice to allow what we listen to. We all have a choice to allow whatever is being said to us or about us in our ear gates. That we all have that choice. If you, I put like this: if you feel that it's a, if you feel that's antagonistic or adversarial, you don't have to listen to it. You can literally take it for what it's worth and keep moving. And no, I'm not saying you don't have. I mean, you don't have to be like that with everybody, because sometimes, sometimes ignorance isn't bliss, and sometimes some people are saying things out of, you know pure benevolence, but it sounds antagonistic. And again, it just goes back to discernment. Like I said, but also, like I said before, we have a choice. We have a choice to what we listen to what we allow in our, what we let's put it like this: we have a choice in what we allow into our spirits, into our minds, into our bodies, into our souls, into our hearts. Yes, thank you, Quint. Thank you, Quint, because I was struggling to try to find the words to say, but you just said it for me. It's not always about what people call you or what they say about you. It is what you answer to. And sometimes an answer isn't it doesn't, exactly, Quint. And I'll retract that particular statement that I said to someone earlier. So you don't have to receive anything. If you feel it's antagonistic to you, you don't have to receive it. If you feel it's not the right thing for you to take in, you don't have to receive it. And like I mentioned before, we our spirit is influenced by what we see, what we hear, what we think. What we hear and what we see largely influence that. And yes, you're right, Quint. Everything. Well, actually, you should have added everybody too to that too. So I'm just gonna add that to it. Everything and everybody don't deserve your energy. So if it feels bad to you, you don't have to receive that or accept it. Bad energy is bad energy, period. So sometimes you just have to, sometimes, Simone, and I can say this because I've done this on a couple of occasions. Sometimes you just have to just ignore people, ignore certain people, because sometimes people just don't, people just don't mean well for you. And you can see that in their eyes and in their intent and everything else. Sometimes people just don't mean well for you. And the only thing that they're doing, they're waiting to see you fall. They're waiting to see you take a dive. They're waiting to see you fall. They're waiting to see you. They're waiting to see you turn belly up like a whale, like a beach whale. They're waiting to see you beat yourself like a whale. They're waiting for you to take a nosedive. Don't give people with bad intentions or bad or horrible juju. Don't give people that. Don't give people that satisfaction. Because once they see you take that nosedive, they know that they got you, and they can keep bombarding you with negative words and negative thought pride, negative thoughts, and that will continue to keep you down on a nosedive till you hit the ground, and then you explode. That's not a good place. That's not a good place for anybody. And yeah, Quinn, for real. And see, yeah, wow. I mean, I'm honestly, Simone, that is how I've had to approach things. That is how I had to approach it. I've had to approach it in that manner. Everybody, not the people that want to see you win, they're gonna keep you afloat, and they're gonna keep you afloat. They're gonna do everything that they can to keep you afloat. The people that don't want to see you win, they're gonna do everything to sink your ship. And once they know if they damaged your ship, once they know that they damaged your ship, they're gonna keep firing and firing until your ship is eventually sunk. Never give anybody an opportunity. Never give anybody the opportunity to do that. Protect your energy at all costs. Protect your heart. Protect your mind. Protect your spirit. Protect your soul at all costs. At all times. Because there are people out here that are energy leeches. All they want to do is leech off your positive energy, leech off the blessings that God has given you, leech off the things that you achieve on you from the sweat of your own brow. Their energy le- their these people will leech off you spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally until you are just a nothing but a husk. I can say that because I've experienced it. And when they leave you like a husk, they moving on to the next person because you're used up. You have nothing else to give them at that point. They're moving on to the next sucker. They try to see what they can leech off that person. You never give anybody that's with an intent to destroy you or make you feel bad or make you feel less than who you are. Never give that type of person that type of energy. Never give that person your positive and infectious energy because they'll take it until you have none to give. Those people only mean harm. They don't mean anything good for you. They mean harm. Right relationships with people, the relationships with the right people, those people don't want nothing from you. They're not trying to leech off anything. Actually, they want to help add to you. Yes, Quint. Yes, indeed, sis. Yes, indeed. Never allow someone to determine your day. Because the minute you allow someone to determine your day, that's pretty much how your day gonna go. And it's going and you going and you and it's gonna be hell and high water. It's gonna be hell and high water to try to get it back on track. On the track that you want that you initially woke up on. If you woke up in a good mood and somebody just dislodged you from your track and now you have a horrible day, it's gonna be real hard for you to get back on the good day track. Get back on the track of being in a good mood and stuff like that. Because and it's amazing how much we as people allow other people to determine the course of our days and the course of our moods throughout the day. It's amazing how much we allow people to do that. One wrong word from somebody, and all of a sudden, boom, my day is screwed up. Somebody didn't put the right amount of creamer in my coffee. Okay, so my day is messed up. So I'm gonna be angry for the rest of the day. Urgh. Or you look at your paycheck and well, I wasn't paid right. Okay, my day is messed up. Urgh. Or other stuff. I mean, things like that can dislodge us from the track. Are having a good day track, and it's those things are like some of them like not putting enough creamer in your coffee. That's minutia. Somebody not putting like an extra piece of letter, an extra piece of tomato, extra tomato or whatever on a sandwich or something like that, and you get angry about it. That's minutia. Now bringing you irreparable harm. That's not minutia. That's serious. But at the same time, people should never, you should never let someone determine the course of your day or how your day is going to go. If you woke up and you told yourself today's gonna be a good day. If you woke up in the morning, you said today is going to be the best day ever, then you do everything in your power to make it the best day ever. Never allow somebody to dislodge you from that thought process and that course. Like I said, somebody put not put enough cream in your coffee, or you went somewhere to lunch and somebody made a salad, made your meal wrong, and you know something happened at your job, and it was something that was like that was easily fixed, and it really wasn't your fault. That's minutia. That's minute. That's really that's minute. That's minutia right there. Stuff that is like serious, and somebody playing with your money, somebody playing with your family, or playing with your kids, or somebody trying to play with a good friend, somebody playing with a good friend of yours. Those things are not minutia. Those things are quite serious. So I just look. Some I'm well, I for me, food is not a big old thing. If someone messes up my order, I mean, it's just a simple thing. Say, hey, look, could you make this again, and they'll do it. Or for me, if it's not that serious or not that trivial, I'll just eat it and be cool with it. But that other stuff, man, I think the one thing we as human beings, we we focus so much on the minutia or the small stuff that we forget the bigger picture, that we forget the bigger perspective, because we think the small stuff disrupts our the smallest thing will disrupt our day, when in actuality it's the larger things that do that. The smaller stuff plays a role, just playing a role, and plays a role into the bigger stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I would be want to agree with that. I would be want to agree with that. It's I just don't. I've had to learn to not let people determine the course of how my day operates, or how my day goes. Today's for me. Today is good. Today, just as any other day, is going to be a good day, unless something horrible comes up that I have no control over. And now, if it's something that I don't have any control over, then I handle it accordingly. And the one thing that I learned from a really good, someone I consider a great friend, a good friend. We served together, and we talk, and we've talked since then. The one thing he told me is control what you can control, what you can control. If it's something, if you can't control it, then if it's not in your immediate vicinity, or it's not directly in your hands, or if it's not something you can personally handle, then you can't control it. Some things happen that's not within our realm of control. How people react to us, how people react to us, how people treat us, and sometimes no, the way I see it, if it's something I don't have control over, oh, I'm gonna be okay regardless. I'm gonna be okay regardless, because what can I do with that? I can't control that. I can't control. I can. So I put like this, and and for me, Simone, this is the best. This will be the best example that I can give. I can't control I can't control what people say out of their mouths about me, but I can control how I respond, or how I choose to or not respond to it. That's the best example that I could give you. And I have things that I cannot control. I do not try to control. Because what's going to happen if I try to control it? It'll probably for me. I mean, what happens if I try to control it? It'll be worse than what it was and when I didn't control it. So I can't control things that happen. I can't control. I can pull. This is another analogy that I use. I can't control things that happen outside of me, but I damn sure can control things that happen inside of me. And when I mean inside of me, inside of my circle, inside of my personal space and my circle of influence. That's what I can control. Anything that's outside of my circle of influence or that anything that's outside of my circle of influence or something that I literally can't control, I don't try to. Anything that's within my circle of influence and I know that I can control without it backfiring or hurting me or harming me in a negative fashion. Oh yeah, I give it the old college try. But certain things don't always require control. People can say what they want about me at this point. It's how I choose to respond or not respond. Sometimes some of the best sometimes some of and this is very I think this is very this is I think would be great for everybody if sometimes the best response is no response. You say something horrible to me, I don't gotta respond. I really don't. You can say whatever you want. You can call me all kind of you can call me all kind of niggas and bitches and hoes and all kind of other ridiculous stuff. Ain't ain't shit ass nigga, all kind of stuff. You can say all that stuff about me. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I don't gotta respond to that. Because guess what? I know who I am as a person. And I know who God said I am. So why should I even give a person that says some stuff like that to me? There were even the why should I even grace them with a response? Better for me to walk away and say, "Pfft," and I don't even gotta say that. I just shrug my shoulders. I will shrug my shoulders and walk away because that's just what it is. And I've had to learn how to ignore certain people because certain people will just Lord give me strength when I say this because I do not want to use a swear word. Certain people will say whatever the hell they want and say, well, I take that back. They'll say whatever the hell they want and say and use whatever phrase they want to get a rise out of you. They want to say whatever they gonna say whatever they want to say to you to get you to the point of being angry and to get you to the point of being angry or get you to the point of being angry. So that way when you get angry, that's when you act irrational and irresponsible. And in the moment that you act irrational or irresponsible, they be like, got him, got him. Why give people the pleasure of watching you act or of watching you act and watching you do that to yourself? You don't have to act the minute you do that, you done literally played into their hands. Up, I got him. Or better yet, I got her. I said something to her. She responded in an irrational and irresponsible way. Now, understand that your irresponsible or irrational action has a consequence to it. And now you have to be now you have to be accountable for that action. Avoid all that. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't act. Don't act. Don't do nothing. As much as your mind and your heart tell you to act or say something, and something. And I know for me sometimes somebody that said something so bad about me, I've literally I had both my fists, both my hands balled up into a fist, and I really want to send this person to the moon. But I know if I did that, if I know if I did that, there would be a greater consequence behind it. So I, unclenched my fist and just walked away. Better to live to fight another day than, you know, suffer unnecessary consequence for something that you literally had control over. And I know some people look at that, well, you just tuck your tail between your legs and ran. So be it. So be it. I took my tail and ran because because I saved you. I saved you from catching the ass whooping. But I had self control. As much as I wanted to send your behind to the moon or beyond to Mars, Pluto, Venus, Uranus, wherever, I didn't. I saved you from being launched. So I just for me, it's all about. And that's another thing I think another tenet that I wanted to try to throw in the rebuilding process is we just have to learn how to make sure that we have self control. We just have to have that motive, that modicum of self control. You know, I tell folks all the time. I tell people all the time. I'm a whole different man than I was. I'm a whole different man now than I was maybe 20, 30 years ago. That man 20, 30 years ago, oh yeah, you would have got launched. You would have got launched. Now, now I'm a lot more careful. I consider the cost of my actions, or I consider the cost of what I'm doing. If I act irresponsibly in this situation, it's gonna cost me. Mike is it's probably gonna cost me some jail. Probably gonna cost me some jail time and and a little bit of a hurt dignity. But I think about the cost. I think about walking away and turning tail is better than me putting you walking away and turning tail is better than me putting you on your behind. Putting you on your behind or sending you to a trip in outer space. And yes, Simone, that's what I be saying. That's what I be saying in my head, in the back of my head. I literally saved your life, dude. Please, dude, assist, please just praise God that I did that because it could have turned out a different way. And that's one thing that I've had to learn, just the modicum of self control. Understanding that what people say sometimes just don't mean. Excuse my French. What people say about you really just don't mean shit. They're just words. Do those words have truth to them? They could not. But it's about how you respond that makes the difference. It's about how you respond that makes the difference. It's about how you act in that situation that makes the difference. It's about how you look, analyze that whole situation and then say, well, I guess I'm gonna save somebody's life today. That makes a difference. I don't, man. Look, so it don't. Some certain things bother me, but certain things just don't bother me. And as of late, usually what folks say, what folks say, man, please, or how they, man, please, because, like I said, it doesn't matter. So I put it like this: it doesn't matter what people say about me. The question, and I think the question that we all should ask ourselves, especially when we are faced with people that say things about us, or say disparaging things about us, or say stuff that doesn't have any relevant meaning to about us. What did God say about me? What did God say about you? Forget what they said. What did God say about you? And if you could look at, if someone could look at, if you could look at it in that instance, you'd be like, well, geez, I'm getting mad over nothing. Forget what. For sometimes I have to ask myself that sometimes. Okay, they're saying this about me. What did God say about me? Or better yet, even or I'll do y'all one better. Instead of me asking myself, what did God say about me? I'll ask God, hey God, what did you say about me? I get my answer and keep it pushing. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what people say about you, it's what God says about you. If God said you were blessed and highly favored, then guess what? You're blessed and highly favored. If God said you are the head and not the tail, then guess what? You are the head and not the tail. If God said you will live in abundance and blessings, then guess what? You gonna live in abundance and blessings. It's about what God says about us instead of what people say about us. And I think sometimes and just to kind of wrap this up, I think when we kind of when we think about that, when we think about aligning ourselves with the right people, we always put ourselves with those wrong people, because those wrong people will always be the ones who encourage irrational and irresponsible behavior. But those right people will always be the ones that's encouraging. They'll always tell you what God said about what God said about you. Because they'll always tell you what God said about you because God told them about you. Literally, God told them about you. That's why you're connected. That's why you're connected to that person. Or that's why you're connected to those people, because God literally told those people about you. They told God literally told the good news about you to those people. That's why they're connected to you. That's why they connected. That's why they're connected to you, and that's why they remain connected to you. Wrong people don't want to connect to you. Or better yet, they do want to connect to you, but it's a symbiotic relationship to which you do not benefit. That's just it. And that's the way that I look at it now, because like I said, and I repeat it again, the right people are the like I said, God already told those people about you. God already said, "Hey, I want you to connect. I want you to connect to Fred. I want you to connect to Simone. I want you to connect to Diana. I want you to connect to Quint. I want you to connect to John. These are good. These are good. These are good people. I need you to connect with them. Those are awesome people. Those are awesome people. I need you to connect to them. Don't worry about it. I've already introduced. I've already told them about you. You don't have to worry about a thing. The wrong people, God ain't tell you to connect to them folks. You connected with them folks. You connected with them folks on your own. And again, I'm saying that because I've done it too. I've done it too. I've connected with wrong people. They said they supported my irrational and irresponsible decisions. They encourage that behavior. They encourage that screwed up and messed up behavior. What did I get out of it? Nothing. What I get out of it? Nothing except disappointment. Except being hurt. Expecting that those people would be around for me when I made that irrational or irresponsible decision. Nah, they let they nah they hopped their ass up and broke in the wind. Like wrong people will hang around you. It's like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship, but you don't get a benefit. You don't benefit from it. The person that benefits from it is a person that's taking. And a symbiotic relationship is give and take. And both parties benefit from a symbiotic relationship. Like I said, it's a even aligning yourself with right people. It's a symbiotic relationship. Both of those are symbiotic relationships. But look at it, but one you don't benefit, the other one you do benefit. And you have to first, and like I said, and I mentioned the first time, you have to make sure that you're properly aligned with God, understanding His will and purpose for your life. Also aligning yourself with the right people, being in right relationship with God, being in the right people relationships. People that won't down you, talk about you, leave you hanging out in the wind if you do something stupid, pulling you to the rug and holding you accountable for your action, for irrational behavior and actions. Making sure that they encourage you and do everything that they can to push you forward. Because they don't, like I said, they don't want anything but to see you win. And for that, you should want the same thing for them. Having those type of people in the right relationships, man, it means everything in the world. Because now you know that you have relationships with people that are able to speak into you, pour that are able to pour into you relentlessly, speak life to you, um, and you do the same, and it's reciprocal. They said they stand in the gap for you. You stand in the gap for them. You know you stand up for them. They stand up for you. They catapult you forward. You reach your hand back and you grab them, and then as you move forward, you pull them right with you. I've said this particular saying a couple of times, and I'll say it again. In this little road of life, y'all, people are going to board your bus. They're gonna ride your bus until they get to their designated stop. When they get to their designated stop, don't tell them to stay on board. Let them get off. That's where they're supposed to stop. That's where they're supposed to stop. People that are going to ride with you are going to be the ones that's going to stay on the bus. Again, people will board your bus and they'll get off at their designated stops. Let them. Let them get off. That's their stop. That's where they need to be. That's the stop that they need to get on. They're supposed to get off on. They ain't supposed to be, they ain't supposed to stay with you. And the one thing I like that Quinn and Coco said, and I hope I'm not staying, I'm not hope I'm not saying this the wrong way. Some of us make seasonal people permanent people. Never make a seasonal person a permanent thing. Because seasonal people are just that, seasonal. They only around for a season. They only gonna be around for a season, then they gone. Some of us, myself included, and again, because I'm guilty of it. Some of us make seasonal people permanent people. They're not supposed to be there. Why are they why are they still hanging around? Why are they still hanging around? Do you see value in them for them to hang around? If they're there for a season, let them be there for that season. Let the one thing that I find that we as people, human beings do. And again, I will most definitely throw myself in this because I've done this too. We keep people around longer than the amount of time they should be around us. And for me, I'm like, why is this person still around? This person supposed to have been gone. Why they still here? Yes, Quint. You took the words right out of my. You took the words directly out of my mouth. Sometimes those seasoned people are counterfeit, and they counterfeit themselves like branches on a tree. That's why you have to have a pruning process. And that's why we as people have to have a pruning process. When our tree gets to when those branches get too big or they get too long, we need to prune those branches away. We need to cut some of them branches away and cut those dead branches away. Those dead branches are will not allow us to grow, are not going to allow us to continue growing. They're just a hindrance. So we have to have a pruning process when it comes to the people that we deal with. People that I won't say the people that we deal with, the people that we connect ourselves to. If they're seasonal people, you know where they belong. Come that next season, they're gonna that just like when seasons change over. We all know the difference when seasons change. We all know the difference from summer to fall, and from fall to winter, and from winter to spring, and then from spring to summer. So we all know the differences. The difference is whether they're subtle or overt when seasons change. When summer to fall comes around, you notice that the leaves start getting darker and browner on the trees. When it's winter, you don't see any leaves on any trees at all. When winter to spring, you see everything begins to start growing again. And then spring into summer, everything is thriving at its fullest. So as just as we watch seasons change and seasons, just as we watch the changes from summer to fall, from fall to winter, from winter to spring, from spring to summer, we have to discern which season the people that we are connected to, which season these people are in our lives. Are they gonna be here for one season? Are they gonna be two? Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Most definitely for sure. I'm finna post this quick because that is mad. That is true. And I did not think about it. I did not think about that. Did not think about that. So I appreciate that. So what Quinn said, rebuilding ourselves starts with us internally. When we start to mature and go through our process, sometimes those people will fall off automatically. And that is true. As we mature, we go through our rebuilding process. We're building all those those 5 tenets that I mentioned. People will fall off. People will fall off like flies. People that are not meant to be there will fall off like flies. People that are meant to be there will remain. And like I said earlier, and to wrap this up now, like I said earlier, our rebuilding process isn't a rebuilding process. If you look at it if you look at it from a practical side, not from us as human beings. If you look at it from a practical side, when you look at when someone rebuilds a house or someone rebuilds a vehicle, you look at you look at all the bad spots, especially when you look at a vehicle like a vehicle. Yeah. Something else I didn't think about, Quint. I appreciate thank you. Something else I didn't think about. When people fall off automatically, it's because they are connected to our hurt and our pain and not our purpose. When people are connected to us connected to our purpose, they will help us to push our purpose forward. They will pray and intercede with us to help us push our purpose forward. When people are connected to us by hurt and pain, once the hurt and pain is gone, there's no connection. They don't have a connection. They don't know. They no longer have a connection to you. But when people are connected to you by your purpose, those people are going to pray and intercede for you. Those people are going to stand in the gap for you. Those people are going to stand on the hedge with you and for you. Those people are going to be the ones, like I said, those will be the ones that's going to propel you forward. And at the same time, you're going to grab their hand and you're going to bring them forward with you. So it is important that we connect the people who are connected through us. Yep. People connected to our purpose allows us to grow through our process. They sure do. And they have no problem. They have no issue with waiting waiting for you while you go through your process. Because they know at the end of the day, once you come through that process, you're gonna be a better, stronger person for it. Truly connected people don't mind sitting back and waiting. They don't mind saying, "Okay, that's fine. I'm here. Whatever you need, whatever you need from me, whatever you need from me, they'll be there for you." Truly connected people will always are truly connected people that are truly connected to you are reliable people, y'all. Just understand that. Now, as we wrap up and we conclude this particular episode, I just want to leave y'all with a particular thought. We've talked about the rebuilding process of who rebuilding, mind, body, spirit, heart, soul. Um, the rebuilding process to me, I look at it as like either rebuilding a house or rebuilding a vehicle, rebuilding a car. As you go through that rebuilding process, there are going to be things that you're going to discard and things that you're going to keep. Some of these things that we discard are things that we don't necessarily need. Some of the things that we keep are things that are parts of us that are dead. There parts of us that we need that were damaged. Same thing with rebuilding a house or rebuilding a car. And I'll compare it more to rebuilding a car. you'll see damage spots, you see rust spots in a car, or if you're rebuilding a car. You see things that need to that need to be repaired. So you go through your process of repairing. You go through your process of finding those places that we as human beings are weak in, and we start buttressing and making those things stronger. Just like in rebuilding a car, you see places that need to be sanded down or welded back together. And sometimes you have to take materials to do that. You have to take materials to do that. And sometimes you have to be given materials to do that. But as you can slowly continue through that rebuilding process, you begin to see you take shape again. You begin to see you begin to see you take shape again. Just like when you're rebuilding a car, rebuilding a house, you begin to see that house take shape again. And now as you continue to rebuild it, now you're adding more elements and components to it. But at the same time, you're doing what you can to secure those components and make them make them stronger. With rebuilding a car or a house, that comes through adding more materials to it. With us as human beings, that just goes through going through each process that we go through in rebuilding our mind and our spirit and our body and our soul. We go through those processes, and each of those processes is an individualized process that leads to a larger finished product. And as you continue to do that, and as you go through the final phases of that rebuild, you're adding finishing touches to it. You're accentuating areas. You're continuing to secure areas, make areas secure, make those areas look good. Well, not necessarily look good, but then you're also adding that last veneer of paint on it. And you pull yourself away from that vehicle, and you look at it. And you look at that finished product. You say, damn, that looks good. We did a good job, and we did a good job in rebuild. We did a good job in rebuilding that and putting it back together. It should be the same thing when you look at yourself. When you finally get through that rebuilding process, and then you pull yourself away, and you look at yourself, and you say, damn, I did a good job in rebuilding myself. I really did a good job in putting myself back together. I went through each of the individualized processes, made sure that each process was completed thoroughly. And I did a good job. When we look at that completed product, that is us rebuilt. Slightly worse, slightly more worse for wear, because that's just the nature of who we are as humans. But a whole hell of a lot stronger, and a whole hell of a lot smarter, and a whole hell of a lot wiser. Yes, indeed, Quinn. Yes, indeed. Took the you I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't just look good, but I feel good. I'm healthy and I'm whole. A rebuilding process is so many elements that goes in a rebuilding process, and each element goes into the larger finished product. And we have to take each part of that rebuilding process seriously. If we neglect or if we neglect or half-ass any part of that, we we won't the finished product won't be healthy. Finished product won't be healthy and whole. The finished product may still be damaged and bruised. May not be the finished product may be incomplete. But when we go through the whole process and we go through that whole the rebuilding process as a whole, but we also make sure that we take great care to make sure that we go through make sure that we do the other sub processes to make sure that each one of them is followed thoroughly. We come out healthy, we come out whole, we look good and we feel good. And we won't go through that repeated cycle of building and rebuilding and because that because after a while that becomes exhaustive. And if you're building and rebuilding and all this other good stuff, come on, man. No, I can't. We can't. Come on, y'all. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, thinking you're gonna get a different result. And the cycle will continue to repeat itself. We have to take care. We have to make sure that we go through each individualized process of the rebuilding phase of our lives. Because I truly believe, and like I said, and Quint and my sister Quint said it so eloquently. If we go through that and complete it, not only do we look good, we feel good. We're much more healthier individuals. We're much more whole individuals, and we eliminate those repeated cycles. It is my hope and it is my prayer that those that were viewing this tonight got something out of it. If you did, I appreciate. I'm very appreciative. I'm very very appreciative that if you did get something out of it, it was I just wanted to make sure. I mean, and I may have been long winded in a lot of things, but I think those me being long winded was for a reason, for a purpose, because I want people to understand that when we rebuild ourselves, we're literally going sometimes we're literally building ourselves from the ground up, y'all. And and sometimes building ourselves from the ground up, well, good thing, good thing and bad thing all at the same time. But it's always a good thing when we're rebuilding ourselves. So I hope somebody got something out of that. I honestly hope that someone did get something out of that because it was my pleasure to present it, and I really hope that everybody got something out of it. Yeah, most definitely, Quint. Most definitely, being at peace is the greatest thing. Is one I won't even say the greatest thing. It's probably one of the more elusive things that we all search for. We all want to be at peace with ourselves and with people. We all want to be at peace with ourselves and with the things that we've been through. We all want to be at peace with ourselves and with the people that we've been through. We all want to try to make things work the way they're supposed to work. And that's cool. But I think being at peace with ourselves should be a little bit more important. The reason I say it should be more important is because when we're at peace with ourselves, when we are truly at peace with ourselves, Things that bother us don't bother us that much. Things that we go through them, but we're much more at peace. But but we're much more at peace with them, knowing that knowing that we put our best foot forward and we handle it the way that we need to handle it, and also knowing that God is all that God's always gonna have our back, will always back us, and also that we have people in our corner that back us. So hope what I said was able to touch someone, reach someone. Yeah, we do take a different approach when we're at peace. We look at things much more thoughtfully when we're at peace. We look at things much more thoughtfully when we're at peace. I can't even stress that enough. But I do hope that, so you guys someone was able to catch that, to catch this, and and glean something from it or learn something from it, because I know I did. I learned a little bit more about myself. I learned a little bit more about myself just when I'm just talking through it. You're fine, sis. You're fine. You're okay. You're okay. Trust me, you're good. But I do hope that someone got something from this. You know what I'm saying? And I do hope that somebody was really blessed by this. So, with that being said, I have a couple of announcements that I want to make, and I'm going to make those announcements quickly. So, first and foremost, um, couple of things that I want to say. I am first of all, is first and foremost, I've been nominated for the Man of the Year award. Um, doing a Men of Honor banquet award ceremony and banquet that's going to be held in Spartanburg, South Carolina, on October the 15th. And it is not too late for you guys to vote. Voting will last. Voting is going to keep rolling until September the 18th. To September the 18th of 2022. So you guys can still vote for me. So please, I want you guys to keep those votes coming. I am this is an this is I'm the one thing I can say that this is, you know, the first time I've been nominated for anything at this point, and I'm happy, and I'm so happy for this. And wow, just I'm very happy for this, and I want to make sure, and even if I don't win this award, it's the simple fact of being nominated means a lot to me, because it really, because it tells me that, because it lets me know that I'm on the correct path, and I'm walking the correct path, and I have the right people aligned with me. So again, it's not too late to post to vote. I am actually putting the website to vote in the comments. So please, and thank you. Keep those votes coming. You have until September, I think September 18th, to continue voting. As I said before, the award ceremony will be in Spartanburg, South Carolina, on October the 15th of 2022. Um, if I'm able to, I will probably do a Facebook live from the award ceremony, just to let everybody see it, and take in the sights and sounds and stuff like that. Um, the other thing that I want to make an announcement for, I wanted that on I will be with my sister, Miss Shayna Goodine, in her unapologetically free virtual conference. I will be one of the speakers. That particular conference is gonna happen, and I'm looking for the date now. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is going to be. I'm looking. I think this is. Yes, this is going to be September 15th, 7th, September 15th at September 15th at 7 p.m. If you're wanting to register for this, I'll see. Let me see if I can find the link for you guys. Oh, there it is, right there. I will put that link in the chat in the comments. If you are wanting to register for this conference, you most definitely can. I'm going to put the Eventbrite link in the comments here. Not only will I be speaking, there's going to be a host of other people speaking. Do me a favor, support my sis Sheena Godine. She's got a one. Her and Miss Pamela have a wonderful platform, and I am honored. I'm honored. I'm honored. I'm truly honored to be a part of this virtual conference again for the second time. Um, for the second time, and I feel I'm very honored to be a part of this conference. And I'm honored and so proud to just be able to support people, man. It feels good to give people support. So I'm gonna put that link in the comments here too. So also in the month of October, um, are we are celebrating our second year anniversary as a podcast platform. Woohoo! And there's the link to the unapologetically free virtual experience. Those tickets are actually free. Just so you know, those tickets are actually those it's actually the tickets are actually free. So if you want to be in attendance, you can most definitely go to that website and register and get your tickets. So, and like I was saying earlier, like I was saying prior to that, in October we're going to be celebrating our 2-year anniversary of being a podcast platform. Woohoo! So we are going to have a celebration like no other, like no other. And the reason I say it's going to be like no other because we're going to have some returning guests come on and offer some kind words, but we're also going to have a nice little chat. But we're also going to honor our good friend and our brother Terrence Jackson. Um, every time I talk about this man, I get choked up in a little bit and very misty eye when I talk about him. Um, he is a very integral part of this platform. Um, I consider him a brother. I consider him a brother and a very good and dear friend. And like I said before, he was a very integral and very important part of this podcast platform. And I was and I'm so glad. I'm so happy that God allowed me to spend if but a brief moment with this person. I'm glad that I was able to spend a brief moment with him. And that's something I'll never forget. I'll never forget the time the time that we had, even though it was brief. It was time well spent. So we're most definitely going to celebrate him, but we're also going to celebrate in addition to celebrating our 2-year anniversary. Other than that, there's really not much anything else, any other announcements that I do have. Oh, actually, I take that back. I do have one other announcement, and this is in support of a good friend of mine. So give me just a second. Let me pull it up. So for anybody that is in the Georgia area, so for folks that are in Georgia, date to what, Quint? To the virtual what date to what, Quint? What date you need is what date you need is this. That will be October 14th. Because actually I'll be gone. I'll be leaving on October. I'll be leaving on October 15th to go to South Carolina for the award ceremony. So it'll be October 14th. That is a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And last but most definitely not least, and this is just in actually two more announcements in support of a couple of good friends of mine. One of my good friends is a gentleman by the name of as Altraz as Traz Tiller, a good friend of mine. He has been on this platform. I've interviewed him and his beautiful wife. Um, I've interviewed him and his beautiful wife, and they are. So if you're in the Georgia area, guys, make sure you guys come check out the stage production of Hosea. Actually, this is going to be set. This will be if you're in the Georgia area, come check it out. It's September 25th, 2022. Showtimes are at 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. This will be at the Charles Wadsworth Auditorium. That's on 25 Jefferson Street in Noonan, Georgia. Your tickets can be purchased at and I'm going to put the website in the comments. Okay, had to make sure I get it right. So that is the website that you guys can go check out. Go to purchase tickets if you're in the Georgia area. Most definitely purchase those tickets. Like I said, the play will be in Noonan, Georgia. That will be on September 25th. Two show times, one at 2:30, one at 6 p.m. There the cat the there's a wonderful cast that they have arrayed for this particular play. Um, if you haven't been to a television productions play or anything like that, you're in for a treat. I promise you, you guys are be in for a treat, and it's going to be a great experience for you guys. Great experience for you guys. And last announcement, guys. Last announcement. I promise you, this is my last announcement, guys. But I want to make sure that I support my friends, that I support my good friends here. Um, my sister, Miss Morgan Flower Child Jones. She has what's called a Give It Life Actors Workshop. If you're in the Atlanta area, this will be done. This will be, if I'm not mistaken, this will be next weekend, Saturday, September 17th from 12 to 2. This is going to be at 1148 Franklin Gateway Southeast in Marietta, Georgia, Suite C. Um, the the cost for this particular workshop is going to be $25. You'll for more information, if you guys want more information for that, just ping me just hit me up in my DMs, hit me up on my Facebook DM or my Instagram DM, and I will give you the information as to how to attend that if you are in the Atlanta, if you're in the Georgia, you're in the state of Georgia or in the Atlanta area. So to those two things right there, my brother Traz and Tamika Tiller with their play Hosea, September 25th, 2 show times, 2:30 and 6. And then my other sis, Miss Morgan Flower Child Jones, with her Give It Life Actors Workshop, Saturday, September 17th from 12 to 2 in Marietta at 1148 Franklin Gateway Southeast, Suite C in Marietta. So those are my announcements for tonight, and I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight and just being with me tonight and just hanging out with me. Special shout out to Quinn. Special shout out to my sis Quinn Jones, and also our good friend Simone Austin. Thank you so very much, sis, for coming in and making this particular episode, making this particular show a great one. Love you to life, Simone. Thank you so much for coming in and just giving us interacting with me with your comments. Big shout out to my sis Quinn Jones for interacting and commenting as well. Most definitely want to give a big shout out to all my hosts, man. Quint, Coco, Bobby. Just also want to let you guys know that we got some new hosts coming down the pike, and we will make that announcement very soon. So make sure you guys keep your eyes and your ears open for that. But with that being said, I am going to actually sign off and get up out of here. But make sure you guys tune in on Monday with my two sisters Quint Jones and Coco Fenton for My Life Has Destiny podcast, and also make sure you tune in on Tuesday for my sis Bobby when she takes over Trailblazers Radio and does her thing. Also, I may have a show on Wednesday, but you just never know what's gonna come out of my mouth on Wednesday or Friday. So whatever comes off of these lips, I'm gonna make sure that it is well written and well planned. But with that being said, I'm gonna sign off up out of here. You guys continue to have a wonderful day. Well, I won't say a wonderful day, but a wonderful week, a wonderful evening. And you guys continue to have a great weekend. Also, want to make sure that you guys understand these 3 things right here, man. Number one, take care of each other. Number 2, be good to each other. Last but most certainly not least, it's a crazy ass world out here, y'all. So above taking the first 2 things in consideration, and above all, please stay safe. Stay safe, y'all. I want y'all to stay safe. Just stay safe, y'all. And with that note, gonna leave you guys with a couple of commercials, and then we're gone. Love you guys to life, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. See you guys on the next show.
We're living in a different time. Isn't that what the old folks say? Well, I beg to differ, because there really is nothing new under the sun. We used to think that this generation was stronger than that of my parents. But after learning where and whom we come from, I realized that this was a false narrative. They fought, bled, and died for the liberties that we take advantage of today. So I changed my mind. We are our grandparents. We are our parents. This is where the idea for uppity Negro apparel and accessories comes from. We are the uppity Negroes that defy boundaries, broke chains, climbed mountains, and crossed valleys of hatred, bigotry, illiteracy, and oppression. The statement is simple. The cause is never ending. The sound, loud. Say it with me, kindred. I am that uppity Negro.
Join Bobby for The Takeover every Tuesday night as she tackles tough subjects with her trademark humor and wit. We guarantee you'll be educated, edified, and also entertained. So join us at 8 p.m. every Tuesday night right here on Trailblazers Radio.